Greetings and welcome to another episode of Association Matters, the official PCAAE podcast for conversations on governance, leadership, and impact in the association sector. When associations thrive, societies rise. So, we're your host. I'm Bobby.
And I'm Emily. The topic for today's podcast is Beyond Membership, Building Engaged Association Communities in the Digital Age. In an era of rapid changes in technology and competition for our attention and engagement, associations are often facing a critical question. How do we move beyond simply managing memberships and begin building truly engaged communities? As we now know, members are looking for more than newsletters, events, and renewals. They are seeking connection, relevance, collaboration, personalized experiences, and a genuine sense of belonging. As technology continues to reshape how professionals interact, associations everywhere are rethinking how they engage members, not just occasionally, but continuously throughout the year.
So, in this episode, we will explore how associations can evolve from transactional membership organizations into vibrant, always on professional communities. Joining us today is Lamesh Shah, CEO of Tradewing, a US based membership engagement platform that works with associations and communities to strengthen digital engagement, networking, collaboration, and member participation. We will learn from Lomes's own experiences working closely with associations around the world and hear his perspective on the future of member engagement.
Lamesh is an entrepreneur, association technology strategist, and, as Bobby mentioned, CEO of Tradewing. With more than 20 years of experience building and scaling SaaS businesses, Lamesh regularly shares insights on association growth, member retention, digital communities, AI, and the future of engagement technology.
So, hi again, Lomes, and welcome to Association Matters. We're really delighted to have you with us. So, let's start our conversation. So, from your experience working with associations, what are the biggest reasons why member engagement declines despite strong membership numbers?
I think a lot of us confuse membership retention with membership engagement, right?
Mm.
Strong membership bases happen for a number of different reasons for an association. Some of it is that there are some associations where membership is mandated because of the need for CE credits, or in cases of legal associations in US, for example, when you join a bar, which you must as an attorney, you are automatically also joining an association where you would get continuing education credits. So you get strong growth, you get strong membership numbers. However, those associations also translate sometimes into poor engagement because there is no reason for members to engage beyond the transaction or the continuing education credits to keep them in that profession. So let's just make sure that some associations memberships growth is just because of who they are and what they do and what industry or vertical they belong to. So I personally feel that they're two very separate issues, and they need to understand that memberships are not they are more of a lagging indicator versus engagement, which is the leading indicator of association health, and two very different things in the market, right?
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's very much similar to the Philippines. As when you're a doctor, engineer, lawyer, you're automatically a member of that association, but not in different associations. Like, if you're a retailer, if you are a franchise owner, or your other professions, then member recruitment is a must. But member engagement is really the core of our discussion, and I think that's the hardest part in the membership life cycle. So, can you
Yeah.
cite any examples or stories about your experience in member engagement and why sometimes it declines in association that have to recruit members?
Yeah. So one of the big things, right, is today about 5.6 to 5.8 billion people are on social media platforms around the globe. And then on an average, they spend about 6.5 hours a day on social media. They are tuned in to platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, Discord, Reddit. Those are their communities, right? They have experienced what it is like to stay in touch globally or geographically diverse areas and grow professionally and personally through those communities. A lot of associations sometimes feel that their job is to distribute content or to drive top down information. But anymore, right, the job of the association is to be a facilitator to connections, not a distributor of information. Associations are not your audiences, they are a place where you can make lifetime connections in your field of expertise. So when you look at the numbers, for example, there was a statistic that came out from Digital Reportal for the 2025 associations. This was a worldwide report. And they said over a 120-day period, which is 4 months, only 15% of average association members engaged with their association. That is drastically low because if you do not engage your members in today's world, the information is not what gets them there. It's the peer-to-peer connections. It's that networking opportunity. It's that community feel of belonging to something other than their work. And you're going to see declines in retention. Right? So the retention is an outcome of engagement. And for associations, like, for example, let's just take the Philippine Computer Society. In Philippines, you have about just a little over 2,000 islands that are habitated. That's a lot of different places where people actually reside. And having experience is not always easy to find yourself at an event from this diverse geographic locations. However, as a part of Philippines Computer Society, right, there is an opportunity for you to learn from everybody, whether you can make it physically to an event or not. So you have to move beyond the traditional cycle of, newsletters, like you said, or events. You have to figure out how you're going to make this association thrive for everybody that is spread out, not just for those people in Manila, for example. And on top of that, what you have to understand also is that your association is, even though you're called the Philippine Computer Society, within that field, there are specialties. You have AI, cybersecurity, you have startups. So if you could not form micro communities or special interest groups, then your members are going to feel overwhelmed because there is a general conversation happening, but not of specific interest to what they do. And so without those micro communities or special interest groups, associations also tend to flounder because now you have a big marketplace that you've set up, but really everything is everywhere. And we all know that we zoom in on information that's critical to us or that's important to us. You have to give the same thought and intent when you build digital spaces for your association.
Excellent. So those micro communities are really the practical strategy and tool to help associations really adapt and continue that engagement. Do you have any case studies or insights around a case study that you can share? Maybe somebody you've worked with around, they weren't doing those micro communities and they did, and the impact that that's had on their association?
So we've been doing use case studies with our clients to sort of understand how they've been leveraging the digital space and how they have moved over time. And let's also face it that a lot of this conversation about engagement in the association world is over the last 2 to 3 years. And specifically, even to sort of narrow that down in the last 18 months, when suddenly engagement has become this key pain point that everybody wants to talk about. That is declining memberships that have driven that conversation, right? Trying to understand how you can do better retention. But one of our clients that came from a rather, how should I say, legacy operational infrastructure and decided to move everything into Tradewing has seen about a 30% growth in memberships because they've been able to tie down how those communities. So to give you an example of the association itself, they basically are a music association, but it's specifically for teachers in music. Now, they have a lot of student members as well. So by creating these micro communities where students can talk to students, or whether you are, in what type of music genre that you specialize in or that you're interested in, those micro communities have helped their association not only retain members, but also grow and scale at a rapid pace. Because now there is a singular place where they can actually go discuss, get answers of people that are like-minded, and have either experience or suggestions on how to do something. So it's that close-knit groups that has helped this association actually thrive, even though they moved away from a very large operational infrastructure into, at that time, with Tradewing, into what was relatively new digital first platform. So, and there are various examples of those where associations have, but it has to be intentional, right? Your crafting of your digital strategy for your association has to be very intentional. You have to understand your members, your demographics, your geography, and that is what is going to help you fine tune how you drive the digital strategy of engagement. Remember, they are following dozens of well established general social media platforms. So this isn't actually rocket science, right? This is about understanding who your audience is, who your members are, what their needs are, and then crafting that strategy and playbook for them.
Thanks, Lamesh. So you mentioned about the strategy. So our third and final question is to you would be, what practical strategies or tools can associations adopt today to keep members engaged year-round rather than only, say, during major events? Any
Excellent question.
suggestions?
Yes. So, one of the big pieces is that today, when you look at, so I just came back from MMC Tech in Washington, D.C., right? Leading up to the event, when you sign on, there were three different websites we dealt with three different logins. And then while we were at the event, we had, I believe, three different apps. So the question was, which app should I be on to do what? And that's what you call a fragmented tool set. All of them were useful. They were just not connected. So one of the big pieces for an association, when you start taking a look at how do we drive engagement, is to understand that you need to build your tech infrastructure in a way that drives and simplifies the experience. Then things start falling in place. So for example, you're doing a major event. Set up a community of all attendees that are going to be registering for that event. So now there is a community inside your association community that is of people who are going to be attending the event. Now they can start the conversation before the event actually even starts. Make your announcements to those communities, drive the hype. During the event, they can see who all is members of that community. They can connect one-on-one with chat built directly into the platform, right? So that allows them to then start having one-on-one conversations, organizing meetups, doing all of that stuff organically, where you do not have to be driving this stuff as an association. And then post-event, do some polling within the community, continue the conversation, and have them post the feedback on the general community pages so that now people who missed out have FOMO for the next one. That's just one aspect of how you take what used to be your traditional, let's say, annual conference and make it this huge run out, post-event celebrations, pictures, all of that stuff, which takes the engagement from beyond that 3-day or 4-day into a 3 or 4 month period. The other thing also, for example, your webinars, providing resources that were discussed during the webinar, having it all in one place where somebody can go relook at it, download the resources, all of that drives engagement. Ask questions to the attendees who attended the webinar and take a poll. They do that on your general community pages so that people can see what they missed. They might want to go and check out that webinar. There are umpteen strategies. There are toolkits that we've built for associations to say, here is how you intentionally drive engagement. And this isn't about a top-down. You try and do a top-down where you're the only one posting, or the staff is the only one posting. Those communities will not be able to gain traction. You have to figure out who your heroes are, who are the people who are going to be active, have them help you drive the conversations, drive the micro communities, set those micro communities up. Let the micro communities moderate and admin themselves so that you do not have the burden. Most associations are either volunteer run, PCAE, for example, right? Or they have a very small staff. One of the reasons why engagement breaks down is because the staff thinks that they are responsible for the actual engagement piece. That is not going to work in the long term. So you have to intentionally drive the conversations from peer to peer. And it's like with anything else, do a survey of your members, find out what it is that is of most interest to them. Figure out how your membership base is diverse. What are the specialties they belong to? What do they actually do? Set up those special interest groups, micro communities, find your heroes, find the leaders who are going to drive those communities, make them micro community admins or moderators, and facilitate the connections, facilitate that. And you will see that it pays off in major ways over time.
Yes, very great strategies and tools, Lamesh. So, Emily?
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Lamesh, for all those insights. We always wrap up the podcast with 3 key takeaways, for our viewers. So takeaway number 1 I got there was strong membership numbers do not automatically mean strong engagement. Many associations are still focusing heavily on transactions like renewals, events, maybe even certifications, while members today are looking for connection, relevance, and personalized experiences also. Real engagement happens when associations are building those smaller communities where members can interact around shared interests and professional passions. Key takeaway number 2 is in today's sort of digital hybrid environment, belonging is created through those relationships, not just via that information sharing. So associations can strengthen community by enabling year-round interactions through those micro communities, special interest groups, and online collaboration spaces. Smaller groups within larger associations often help members feel more seen and connected, especially those, as you touched on, spread across geographically dispersed communities. And number 3 is associations are not simply managing memberships at scale, but they need to be building meaningful, intentional communities at scale. So associations should continue to continuously grab those engagement opportunities through maybe webinars, discussion forums, supported by digital platforms that centralize that collaboration, not the fragmented systems that you touched on. Keeping those conversations and connections long after the major events are over is key and a true benefit.
Excellent summation again, partner Emily. And so thank you, Lamesh, for gracing our podcast. And thank you to our audience. This podcast is where governance, leadership, and impact come together. So we believe that when associations thrive, societies rise. This podcast is brought to you by the Philippine Council of Association and Association Executives, Members AMS, and Pricing for Associations.
Subscribe to our podcast and visit the PCAAE website for updates and full episode notes. Until next time, thank you for joining us, Lamesh.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.